Hi, I am Deej Barretts.
I'm Shari Fasco.
And I'm Demi Constantine.
And we are your Saturday Night Ladies. Back with episode 2 of the first series of SNL UK with Jamie Dornan, the musical guest, Wolf Alice. He was a former model. Where I know him from, once upon a time, in the first season, he portrayed the huntsman in the fairy tale world and was a sheriff in the real world. He's also known for the 50 Shades movie series. Get your big dumb cup and put on your big dumb hat and let's talk about SNL UK. The cold open. We have a MI5 briefing with Prince Andrew in the past, where Prince Andrew will do anything for king and country, with Jack Shep as Prince Andrew, Larry Dean as Peter Mendelsohn, Emma City as Sarah Ferguson, Hamed Amiyashan, Ayare Baboye, and Celeste String, who are the governmental aides. This takes place in time, and the opening shot of where you have Jack Shep playing Prince Andrew, and this is just after the passing of Lady Diana. And the newspaper holds up a photo of his appearance as Princess Diana in the previous episode. Internal continuity there. The public is turning against Prince Charles. So they deduce that the only way to increase the likability of our future king is to decrease the likability of everyone around him. Jack Shep is always a delight. Larry Dean, nice to see him in a cold open. Definitely an interesting concept. One of Prince Andrew's biggest concern is with Prince William because he's so handsome. They have a plan for that. And then he asks, what about Harry? He's going to marry a woman 98% of the UK public will find impossible to have a normal conversation about, which is, of course, Meghan Markle. Well played by everybody. Just that one meta moment at the beginning. Lock the sketch in for me.
This was fun, especially with all of the things that have come up with Andrew, which is like supposed to be what this is explaining away. He's so terrible because he's got to make his, fellow, what are they, brother? No. Cousins? I don't know. I don't follow the royal bloodline. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's royals schoolwork.
Yeah, royals. Okay, royals. He's got to make Charles look better because not looking great around the time of Princess Di's death, his affair had come out, etc. and so on. So this was very funny about, oh yes, Andrew, you can do some bad stuff, which of course he proceeds to do over the many years. So this is quite funny, and I love anything Emma does, and I thought she was bang on with her impression of Fergie, and this moved at a good clip. I hope that SNL US is taking notes because they keep these nice and short and sweet and to the point, which is how a good cold open should be.
As an elder millennial, I could write a book about this, sketching how much I loved this cold open. I'm not going to do a book though, but I think I've said this before like multiple times, but finally my hours of watching royal documentaries are paying off, and I get all these references, and I was alive. I remember Princess Diana before she died, People's Princess 24/7, and then I remember her death was seismic. And there's always been conspiracies, always. So what I really loved about this sketch was it let you have the conspiracy theory, because it was like, oh, this whole thing has been a bluff. Andrew's just a terrible person because he's been a patriot for his brother, and it was so perfect because of that. They could go in so many different directions because after all, he's just doing it because he's being a good brother. Oh my God, that was so funny. And Emma Siddell playing Fergie, I can't get this out of my head because the way she said it was so funny. She was like, should I do this? Should I do that? Be more odd. And that phrase is so funny to me. Can you be more odd? I love that. I don't know if it's a common way to phrase it, but it was so funny. Because Fergie, I've seen all this documentary footage of her when she first met Andrew, and she was really brash, and she wanted to be a pilot. I think she went to pilot training, and she was qualified because her husband was always away for months and months and months in the military, and she wanted to do something for herself. And she and Diana got along for a minute, but then they got along too well, and Charles did not like that because they were acting too schoolgirly in public, and he was like, no. So I appreciated this so much. I gave everyone in the cast something to do, and there was so much room to say whatever they wanted and insinuate whatever they wanted because it was all in service of the royal family. And then when Mandelson came in, I'm vaguely aware who that person is who played Mandelson. When he came in, I don't really know what that guy looks like.
Larry Dean.
Oh, excellent job, Larry Dean. I wasn't really familiar with what he looked like, but I was after that sketch because he played it so well, like such a ghastly creep. Excellent, excellent. And you'll never see that on SNL in the United States. So I just really, really appreciate. I'm like championing at the bit for SNL UK to start again, just so I can see their political commentary, because I'm looking forward to it now. I'm like, I got a taste. I want more, because this is really well done.
Recently, I had watched some videos of the Prime Minister Starner, and 4 Acres, it's a bit more exaggerated, but his impression of the Prime Minister works very, very well. The monologue, which is efficient. Sometimes long monologues are good. Sometimes you just don't need a lot. Him saying that he is the first ever host of SNL UK after the previous host of SNL UK. I did Google Jamie Dornan potato rock, and this is actually a thing. He was not lying on this. What I really loved was Chris O'Dowd showing up. I have been a fan of the IT crowd, and he's brilliant on that show. He was really good with Kristen Wiig and Bridesmaids. He's just one of my other favorite Irishmen. Just how he can be so very, very cheeky. Apparently had replaced one of his potato rocks with an actual potato, telling him to smell it. The first thing you're thinking is like, oh, what kind of crude thinking he did. The fact that he put in a non-Irish potato. Really hope they have Chris O'Dowd host next season.
I love the potato rock thing and how he's talking about being nerdy and all of that. It's very self-deprecating. I love it when hosts are kind of self-deprecating and take themselves down a peg. I think it makes them much more relatable, especially when they're really flawlessly good looking. It makes them seem a little more human when they find their own flaws and their own little quirks. And I like the Chris O'Dowd bit as well. I've watched a little bit of the IT crowd. I'm getting more and more familiar with Richard Ayoade. He seems to be in all the British panel shows that I've been binging on lately, which is another one. I mentioned to you guys about the mysteries. I'm also on a big time British panel kick. So yeah, he's quite funny as well. Hopefully he'll show up on SNL UK. I think he'd be really, really fun.
Thank you for remembering the name for me, because you think I would know it that well, but postmenopausal brain.
But he's on every panel show. I think he's been a big star there for a long time. I agree with you, DJ. I thought this was a very fun monologue. I like that it was short. I'm all about short. You don't need, sometimes, yes, longer is good, but most of the time, keeping it quick, getting to the jokes and getting out is my preference. So this was ideal for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I had heard the name Jamie Dornan. I'd heard the name. I never knew what he looked like. I never saw any of his movies. I didn't watch the 40 Shades of whatever. I didn't watch any of those. No. But when he came on, he was talking. I'm like, that guy's like really handsome. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like this guy, do people know that he's really handsome? Like, it's just like a thing. Like, I was like taken aback. Like every sketch, he got like more handsome to me. So I liked that. That's my review of the monologue.
Sometimes they're doing commercials. Sometimes they're doing these sort of musical ones, and all about going to a British themed pub, but you're on vacation in Spain. They have a lot of really talented singers on this show. I know eventually we were surprised with Al Nash when he did the Phantom of the Opera bit. Annabelle Barlow comes from the West End. Everybody just kills it in this. Plus the theme is you're going all the way to Spain, but you still want something that's familiar. It's like going to Japan and still wanting to go to like Burger King or McDonald's or something. Not necessarily embracing the country that they're going to, but they go to the British themed pub. Annabelle is giving serious sporty spice vibes.
Me too.
I'll concur.
Al Nash and Jamie Dornan, oh my God, he can actually sing. Apparently he's also a singer, and this involves more rap, but that's when they go to, okay, well, we're tired of doing the British themed pub, let's go to the Irish themed pub. But in Spain. I think it was Emma City was the one who had spent a year on Duolingo learning Spanish. I wasted all this time where we're just going to something that's familiar. I enjoy the song. It sticks in your head. It's a nice reggaeton vibe. Absolutely beautifully shot. Beautifully composed and excellently sung by everybody.
Agree. The singing was great. The look was very believable. I don't know if that was a set or if they actually shot in a pub somewhere, but it was perfect, spot on. That seemed very relatable to me. It's what you said is so true, Deej. We go vacationing to see new places, but we still want to hang on to the blanket of familiarity. Because when I went to Europe as a very young girl, many years ago, I went to England and I went with a bunch of people who were not very adventurous eaters. And I always have been adventurous. But I was hanging out with some folks from a state that I don't want to say because I don't want to offend anybody. They all wanted to go to like Taco Bell and Wendy's. So because I enjoyed their company and I was by myself, I went and I had my Taco Bell London shirt for a long time. That was like a big prized possession. That was the only good thing about going to Taco Bell. But yeah, I finally had to switch groups and go with another group that was going to actual authentic cuisine from that country because I realized I didn't want to just eat Taco Bell when I'm in like England or Wendy's in Italy. It just didn't make sense. So yes, you were spot on, Deej. Sorry for that bit of a tangent, but yeah, this was very relatable. I love the music. I agree. It was very catchy. Everybody could sing. This was probably one of my favorite bits of the evening.
I love that, Shari. That shirt. Oh my God, what a prize for sure. But I completely understand. I've always been a friend like, why would we go to McDonald's? What? But I did not realize this was such a prevalent thing until I saw this sketch actually. And I was like, oh yeah, that reminds me because I was in the military, retired. We were stationed in Qatar, a Muslim country, you can't drink. There was a British themed pub to watch rugby. There was the rugby bar. I don't know how we got there and I don't know how it existed. But it did exist, and it was just like the SNL sketch. There was like jerseys on the wall and multiple televisions, and what is this? And like there was beer taps and stuff. I don't know how or why any of that worked. I was not in charge. I was not the highest ranking. I was not driving. I was just like, okay, this is great. And then when I watched this sketch, I was like, oh, this is a thing. It is like the McDonald's. This is their version of McDonald's. Oh my God. So this sketch helped brought in and link some things in my life and my experiences to the broader whole. So, and it was catchy and everyone had a part and the set design was great. Banger from this episode for sure.
One thing I used to watch back in the day was a channel called Eat Your Kimchi. It was a Canadian couple who went to Korea to teach English and just stayed. Eventually, even though they had Pizza Hut in Korea, their pizza in there is so different.
It's not the same Pizza Hut.
Exactly. Completely not the same. So you're going to have some familiarity, but not everything. My favorite sketch of this night. This one just knocked it out of the park. Girlfriend held hostage. Janie Dornan as a kidnapper. Annabelle Marlowe as his victim. And Jack Shipp as, and I do air quotes here, the boyfriend. I loved where this went. Because we start off with he's doing this dramatic, I got your girlfriend. And you go, we're going to need this money or I'll kill her. It's like, excuse me. I don't really think we've really put a label on it yet. And as they're talking, he gets so involved and so excited as little things over. He was like, when I was stalking you, I just saw all these things. It would have been great. How on board he is with it. Then when they actually call the boyfriend, he is there with another girl. He's a piece of total shite. During this time, somehow, Annabelle has gotten the kidnapper's gun. So she was able to get out with her life. Just to have this it's like a best friends talking about a boy thing relationship throughout the whole thing. And at the end, he says, just promise me you won't go back to him. So, I probably will. Well written. Those two had really good friend chemistry.
The escalation here, the way the ante just keeps getting upped, and you kind of knew something twist was coming, and it did. And I also like the way they sort of couched in the whole social media and Instagram and our perceptions. Work that in as well. This was very, very fun. I love the ending where she's like, yeah, I'll probably go back to him. I think that's very relatable for many of us, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, a family relationship that's not working out. Somehow we still get pulled back in. I think this is definitely something that we can all relate to.
That's so true, Ashari. That's so true. I forgot that's how the sketch ended. I was like, I don't like that. That's forgot. Well, that is how it ended. Because you really were just rooting for Jamie Dornan and Annabelle Marlowe. You were really kind of rooting for them a little bit. You're like, oh, actually, he's like a girly and he's really cute. This could work. But even though this sketch structure still wouldn't allow it, but you kind of were rooting for a little bit. Because her boyfriend sounds like her friend sounds like a real loser. I don't want to put a label on it. But I thought this was such a cute turn. And if they'd have been badly acted by one of them, it wouldn't have worked. If they had gotten like too saccharine, like too juvenile, it wouldn't have worked. It was the perfect amount of girliness, like just for it to be believable. And also a little bit scary. Really, really excellent sketch construction here and well executed.
If the performances weren't working together, this definitely would not have worked. Jules Holland, Boogie Woogie Man. Pre-tape, when this aired, the clocks were changing. So put your clocks forward or else, because if you don't put all your clocks forward, Jules Holland will come in and steal your time. I love the concept. A lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with Jules Holland. I merely knew of him as a member of Squeeze, and they did have some hits stateside, such as Tempted, Pulling Muscles from the Shell, and Black Coffee in Bed. And their album, Singles 45 and Under, remains one of the greatest best-of albums in rock history. One thing I love about that group, they don't do harmonies. What they do is they sing, Jules and the lead singer, they're singing an octave away from each other, which adds a completely different dynamic to how it sounds. Trying to make sure that all the clocks are turned off. George Fouracres as Jules. Emma City is Jessie J. Jamie Dornan and Annabelle up together. They're almost there, but they forgot the clock on the stove. And Jessie J had been nabbed because she forgot the one on the DVD player. Then all of a sudden, two more Jules Hollands show up, played by Patty Young and Al Nash. And the Al Nash Jewel says, well, I'm not called Jewel Holland, am I? It had a really nice horror vibe. It kind of reminded me a little bit in just an atmosphere of the one on SNL where the couple thinks that they're going to be alone for the weekend, then their family shows up. Plural Jules Hollands, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, this one baffled me, but now that Deej explains it, makes a lot more sense. So thank you, Deej, because it totally makes sense now. I still enjoyed watching it because, as Demi has pointed out, sometimes when we don't understand stuff, that's the cool thing about this show is we learn about things that we don't know about. So I enjoyed this, and the look of it really did have a horror vibe. Another excellent observation, Deej. I definitely got the horror vibe from it, and I don't like horror, but I like when they poke fun at how much horror is out there because it's having a huge time, right? It's never not been a thing, but it seems to be especially huge right now.
Bill Hader is currently working on a horror movie.
There you go.
Of course he is. Is he the villain?
He wrote it with his best friend from high school, who's Duffy Boudreaux, but he's also directing it and starring in it.
This definitely had a very horror vibe. Horror-like. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I enjoyed it even though I didn't really understand it. So that's a great hallmark if you can make me like something that I don't really understand. So thumbs up for me.
Yes. Like Shari, completely baffled. I was like, this looks very rich in deliberate references, and I have zero idea what this is referencing. You think I speak English, I should be able to get it. Nope. No idea. So to all the panelists on SNN, to Deej, the Canadian, explaining the context of what Jules Holland is and why this that is extremely funny, but I did not grow up with it. I can appreciate it now, but I was like, I hope the people this is for like it, and they did. So that made me very happy. And then also, Imogene de Patrine, they're going to be on Jules Holland, and they're posing with Shania Twain all these promo photos, and people are sending that on Facebook, like people that listen to rock music and stuff with no context. And they're like, this because it seems super, super random to see them in costume with Shania Twain. And then I was like, I come in like, oh, I know what this is. This is Jules Holland variety show. And this was like Canada Night or something. And I know that because of SNL UK. So thank you to SNL UK, like you were saying, Shari, and thank you to everybody that contextualized it. Everybody thought that was hilarious and explained why it was hilarious. you have enriched my life. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So after he left Squeeze, he was a keyboardist. He hosted from 1992 later with Jules Holland, which is why he was dating all these hours. Since 1994, he does Jules' annual Hootenanny, a New Year's Eve big band countdown, a musical series called The Tube, which I watched. CKVU TV broadcast a lot of those British shows. Next is Sexy Soldier Son. This takes place on a film set with an emotional scene from the battle within, the mother reuniting with her son after his time at war. We start with Celeste String as the actress playing the mom, Jamie Dornan as the sexy soldier son, Jack Shepp as the director, Hamed there as probably like a PA or something, and a city at the end. But because the actor, Jamie Dornan, is so freaking hot, she is just not acting motherly at all. They're trying to get through the scene, and he's taking it seriously. They're trying to get her, corral her in. Then eventually, we plan for this. Hamed comes in and takes Celeste away and brings in Emma City as the new mom. This time, Jamie Dornan's actor is into it. He likes this one better, so he picks her up and carries her off to the dressing room, leaving poor director Jack Shepp just being completely 100% confused. It was an okay sketch to me. I definitely enjoyed the performances. I did like that twist at the end about, okay, I like this one better going off of her, and Jack Shepp just playing really confused director in the end. It did have a few laughs for me, but it's not like one of the big highlights of the episode.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything Deej said. This was fun enough. I like the end. I love anytime Emma shows up. She's probably my favorite cast member. Her and Anya are my two favorites. So whenever they show up in anything, I'm always extra excited. So I liked her at the end there, and I love the little scoop up that he does. He just picks her up like she's a feather, which I thought was quite a nice touch. But nothing extra special, but this stuff's happening on sets all the time. It ends a lot of relationships because they work so closely. I think this had a ring of truth to it because romances abound, whether they're cast members and crew or two cast or whatever. It definitely happens. I mean, happens on Saturday Night Live, right? Emma Stone ended up falling in love with maybe not a writer, but somebody in the crew. And I think that's happened a couple of times.
Director.
Okay. So this stuff happens. So it's certainly, like I said, adds the ring of truth to it. Not my favorite. I agree with Deej, but fun enough.
Another classic. Host is hot. Executed fairly well. Great costuming. Great blocking. Host is indeed hot. I think we're all thrilled about casual implied incest. That's the best. More of that. That is comedy. We're all three on this panel just like really rooting for that. Our host is hot sketches. I give it a 6.
Weekend update with Adia and Patty once again continuing with their absolutely fabulous chemistry. I still love these two together. I kind of ship them, but Patty talking about BTS, whole thing about the various relationships, and there's that very shy look that he does. But I wouldn't really know. I don't know anything about BTS. Of course, we are. Also, the premiere of Hand in Hand with Anya and Patty. Because of the chaotic nature of the news, they get together, they're holding hands. We're all going through things. Let's just try and support each other. So I love that moment between the two of them. We only have one correspondent, which is Ayode Bambayoye, as the guest fertility expert, because pretty much all over the world there are declining birth rates. The way she phrases it is described like why people don't want to have a baby with Patty. Somewhat of a Colin Jost, Sarah Sherman vibe. Patty's completely bewildered by this. I don't blame him. Ayode absolutely charming in this. I love that she got a chance to do this, and she does come on update later this season. But all the women on this show are great. But I'm glad we do definitely see more of her this episode and in the future. My one favorite joke was they had this picture of a AI model in a shortcut military uniform with high heels. Honestly, what kind of sad, sexually frustrated loser would sit alone fantasizing about her in my room last night? Excellently done.
I love the Weekend Update desk. I love these two so much. They have so much chemistry together. I wonder if they had a club together, done gigs together. I feel like the comedians in Britain are really, really tight. They all seem to know each other. That's, again, from my panel obsession. But I wonder if these two have crossed paths around the same age and things, because they have so much chemistry on the desk. And I love the hand-in-hand thing. And I love them talking. It kind of reminds me of that Jon Stewart bit that he used to do where he was sort of calming Americans down during various phases of crazy. And they're doing that with the English community. And I thought it was very, very funny, very charming. I look forward to seeing that develop. I loved Ioti. She was a great correspondent. I loved her picking at Patty. I liked the roasting. It was very funny. All in all, a very, very good update. They're just keeping the momentum going, keep getting better and better, which is a good sign.
Yes, more Patty and Anya. Unbelievable. Hand in hand with Patty and Anya, putting their hands on each other, on top of each other's hands at the desk with the camera, and then keeping it going. That is so funny. And I was so glad to see Anya was sticking with the purple necktie, purple suit, and purple castor hair. I was like, oh my God, it's her look. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I hope this is definitely her look because I love it so much. They're not adversarial. They're not in cahoots. You're not really sure what they are yet. It's a very just dynamic, and there's so much room, I think, because they have so much comedic respect for each other. I'm just excited. I'm really excited for them to come back. I'm not like SNL US. SNL US, it's very different. It's a very different past appreciation. And it's like reading the Sunday comics for me. It's always been like that. But SNL UK, I'm so excited. It's a very different viewing experience. So, oh my God, I can't wait for them to come back in September and like tell us what's what. We might have a new prime minister. Not we, they. I say we as in the fans.
I think the way I can put it with those two is they generally enjoy each other. The reactions to each other's jokes. That is like, you can just tell that this is the competition thing. We're all this together. We want to make this as awesome as possible. One of the biggest musical things since last episode, Rap Gluing Factory. Set up as like an early 19th century British workhouse, taking advantage of all the workers, which are Larry Dean, Jack Shep, Celeste String, Annabelle Marlowe, and Iota Bambayoye. Their job is, when you get a wrap from a fast food restaurant and there's a one part of the wrap they'll stick to the package that makes the whole wrap fall apart. We're the ones who put the glue on there. One of the lines I love throughout the song is when Jack Shep's like, how is this a job? Emma and George are doing a Les Mis kind of master of the house, the managers. But eventually the owner of the factory comes in, Jamie Dornan. He has a really good voice and he plays the character well. The true star of this sketch is Annabelle Marlowe. She comes up and does rally the workers together to fight against the evil owner, who they eventually do fall into the fireplace. Now, apparently there was a screw up on the live show. He was supposed to get in there completely. Apparently he got stuck. So he just went with it, just let his legs go limp. And whoever is writing these songs, I don't know who they are, but I love you guys. Keep it up, because I am a big musicals person. So this completely speaks to me.
I love musical sketches, especially when they have cast members who can sing, which, as Deech just pointed out, they have lots of them, plus the host. The first thought, as soon as they zoomed in on them doing the rapping, doing the gluing, all I could think of was Annie. And It's a Hard Knock Life where they're mopping the floor. So it felt very Annie-coded to me. And I love that. And I love the set. I love the costumes. I thought 100% Deej was right. This was Annabelle's sketch. Obviously, we know about her theater background, and it shines here. Completely a showcase for her abilities. Everybody else does a fabulous job backing her up, but she just nails it. I wish they'd insert music. I guess I would like it more. I know a lot of people don't feel the same, but I really enjoy it because both of the musical sketches tonight, the pre-tape with the British theme pub and this one, were so amazing to watch, atmospheric, and they just drew you in. What more can you ask?
There was so much talent in this. I was shocked that they wrote a 5-minute 3-act play, and with choreography and costumes, lyrics that made sense, with emotion and turns, separate acts. Like, it was, oh my God, like the owner of the factory and also the mayor, That was a lot funnier then than it is, and that's a lot less funny now. But that's like the stereotype of old English workhouses and stuff. Like the person in charge is also the government, and it took so many tropes, like, and Annie, like a hard knock. Just so many theater tropes that seemed to like roll them all into one coherent sketch. I could not believe that someone put it together that quickly for SNL. I was just marveling the entire time at so many facets had to come together so quickly. Absolutely insane, to be frank.
It's also somewhat reminiscent of what started with Diner Lobster and all of the other subsequent New York-based musicals that John Mulaney has written, which is interesting for someone who famously cannot sing. If you've ever seen the documentary that James Franco did that's on YouTube, he's trying to explain what he wants for the theme for Lost Works of Judy Blume, and it is Lost Works of Judy Blume, Judy. It's like he just cannot sing. So he definitely proves that. Alrighty. So we are on to another pre-tape. Beans Bros. Two guys who run a food truck for the British delicacy Beans on Toast. Jack Shep and Larry Dean as the Beans Bros, and they're pitching their Scottish-themed food truck with all the different types of baked beans that you can get on toast, all funded by their grandmother's secret recipe to fight the fact that she recently infected an entire classroom. They're trying to distance themselves from the sordid past of the grandmother. Eventually, they have part of the profits going to a charity they created for any other grandmothers who have created heinous acts. They go on a little bit more than I wanted to. Jack Shep and Larry Dean, believable brothers, have taken a very British food and making a food truck out of it. I mean, to some people, beans and toast may not be much of a thing, but apparently it is. Personally, I like doing beans with extremely cooked Kirkland Polish sausage, elevated Franken beans.
Yeah, this was a nice little bit of piffle for the end of the night. Silliness. I do agree that there was a lot of good camaraderie between the two brothers. It felt like a real ad. Food trucks are huge everywhere. So I liked that sort of international, like, bonding. Another thing that apparently is all over the world, because food trucks are huge. At least they're very big here in Michigan, even though we have crummy weather, so they can't be out that much. But yes, everybody loves a food truck. And I also love that beans and toast, very big in England. And we don't really get it here, I think. But then they probably don't get some of our food. So I like that little play too. So this had a lot, again, relatable. So yeah, good enough. And like I said, nice piffle for the end of the night. Nothing too serious. And again, short and sweet, in and out.
I'm about to pile drive this. I thought this was so funny. I was dying. How funny I thought this was. This is my favorite kind of humor. One of them, where you take like something simple and keep escalating until really the thing you thought the sketch was about has nothing to do with the actual sketch. The entire food truck is just a cover to remedy and fund themselves and distance themselves from their murderous grandmother. Like, what? That has nothing to do with the food truck. So I loved it because it's not quite Lonely Island. It's not quite Please Don't Destroy and something else. But it just kept ratcheting up the insanity, just kept getting further and further away from how the sketch started. I love to see it. So I was dying. More of this, please.
Rugby Friend. Classic 10-1. You could not do in the U.S. Absolutely not. Dornan is a guy who loves rugby, and he is so stoked that his wife's friend is dating a rugby player played by Hamed. Emma City is his wife, and Annabelle Marlowe is the girlfriend. Was trying to start with the old trope of, I could have been a rugby person, but unfortunately it was my knee. He says, I really hate when people do that, and has to come up with some sort of different malady prevented him participating. That wasn't the knee thing. His solution is to go into the kitchen, cut off his balls, and tape them to his side. The ultimate contact sport that rugby is, where the entire idea at some point is just a dog pile on top of one guy. That is a very serious injury, but the fact he would go to this length, and you can definitely tell he's suffering when he asks his wife to come to the kitchen. He's explaining the thing. You can sort of see a bit of blood on his apron. It was weird, but I loved where it went. But eventually he did win over the rugby player. I hate to see a sequel to this and what actually happened in the end. He basically castrated himself and stuck things all elsewhere. It's like he panicked, apparently, and couldn't find anything else. And at the end where he just basically sort of collapses, which makes sense because there's probably a lot of blood loss there by now. Apparently on Reddit from the rugby communities, they agree that Dornan was highly entertaining and a fun inclusion for the sport, largely praising the writers for leveraging the British and Irish talent in the cast to nail the local references. Perfect ending to the show.
I totally agree with Deej. 10-1 for sure. Last sketch of the night. This is very off the wall, obviously a little bit naughty, and it makes, again, I can always find something relatable, even in as zany as this is, because we always, when somebody we admire, we want to impress them, the lengths that we'll go to, okay, maybe not cutting off our genitals, but we'll go to, I know when I'm around, if there's somebody that I'm particularly impressed with and I get to meet them, I want to make sure I say the right things, that I, whatever. And I think we all feel that way. So this made sense. Of course, as usual, they ratcheted up the stakes, but yeah, it worked. And it definitely a note to go out on with this, just taking it to absolute extremes. The whole cast is really funny here, and the visuals, the blood, it all plays very well. So yeah, a good way to go out for the evening.
He did cut off his balls. And then I just remember the wife coming in like, what? Why? Like completely dumbfounded. Like, oh, yeah, okay, good. It's not just me. I'm not supposed to actually understand what's going on here. Okay, this is insane. Got it. I just really appreciated that. Great concept. I'm so glad to hear from Reddit that it was well received and respected with regards to the references and stuff. That's what a score. I love it when that happens because I wouldn't know. So I'm glad they did that. Really well acted, and I'm glad it actually paid off in the end. Like, oh, respect. I'm like, oh, it was worth it, guy. Cutting off your balls and gluing them to your stomach. It was all worth it. I think we all felt that way. So yes, great way to end the night.
Also an excellent slice of life sketch, which is its own art to it, but it just takes a dark turn, which is interesting because the last thing of the night was the Paddington pre-tape, which featured a lot more blood. So is this going to be a trend for the end of the night sketch? Well, we'll find out. And I just realized that we didn't do any ratings for SNL UK like we do for that. So let's get caught up on that first. So we're going to each of us will do our ratings for both episode 1 and episode 2. Today's metric will be rap glue. For episode 1 with Tina Fey, definitely 10 out of 10 for that. Perfect introduction, perfect bridge between the two things. She worked so well with the cast, and it was a really excellent start to this entire show. And then we get to episode 2. I'm still going to rate this high, 9.5. While there are some sketches I like more than other, I haven't found anything I truly don't like. I find something to love about everybody, and if I don't necessarily love the content, I love the performances. British humor, which kind of extends to Canada as well, is just such its own thing. That things like the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and stand-up and the stand-up culture they have there, as you're saying, the panel shows that are really big.
I pretty much agree with Deej. I love the Tina Fey, so we're going to do the rap and glue for both, and I would say 10 out of 10. I agree with Deej. 10 out of 10 for bottles of wrapping glue or whatever. And the Jamie Dornan, I liked, but not quite as well. So I'll say like an 8.5. It wasn't quite as high energy, but definitely everybody was giving it their all. Just not as many highlights. Not quite as high the height as episode 1. But again, that could have been just because it was the first episode and it had so much build up and excitement. But yes, I enjoyed both very, very much.
Same Z's, 10 for sure, 10 glue wraps for sure for episode 1. And then episode 2, I will not say series. I know series is what I can't do it. I can't. It breaks my brain. I can't do it. I will claim McDonald's in America on this, and I will say episode 1, 10 out of 10. Episode 2, I'm splitting the difference. I'm going to say 9 glue wraps because it's just so exciting. I can't say anything negative yet. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Jamie Dornan did definitely have a calmer energy to it, but just the writing on this is so solid. And I'm just so impressed by everybody. There's no cast member I don't like. That's it for episode 2 of SNL UK. Thank you for joining us once again. As usual, like, follow, subscribe, tell all your girlfriends about us so we can get more people. And also, if you want to be on the show to discuss stuff with us, please let us know, because we're open to guests of any gender or non-binary, whatever you are welcome here as Saturday Night Ladies. But for now, go forth and find the funny.
Funny is hope.
Saturday Night Ladies is a presentation of Wacky Notion Productions. Hosted by Deej Behrens, Shari Fesco, and Debbie Constantine. Recorded and edited by Deej Behrens. Off-week show research by Shari Fesco. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just email SaturdayNightLadies1978@gmail.com. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.